Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for opting in and thank you for beginning this process, this class we call Pure Life University. Now, this is going to be an accumulation of 5 different classes. Today's class is on Pure Life. The next class that you'll receive is Pure Food. We'll go through Pure Fitness, Pure Energy, and Pure Mind. And this is Pure Life University. We're going to be focusing on things that will improve your health, your happiness, your productivity in life. And we want to just help you to achieve your goals, take your life to that next level so that you can enjoy it a little bit more, so you can be a little bit healthier, so you can be a little bit wealthier, so that you can spend time with your loved ones and enjoy what we call life. Okay? Now that brings us into the beginning of class number 1, Pure Life. And we want to cover the big idea and the reason why we're actually taking this journey through Pure Life University. So, what is life? What is life and what is death? All right? This is the difference between a body that you would call alive or a body that you would call dead. You see, these two bodies have the same exact parts. If you take a person, a human being who is alive, and you lay them next to a human being that is dead, there is no difference in the parts, okay? Every single cell, tissue, organ would be exactly the same in human A and human B. So why can you look at them and say there's definitely a difference? Because one has life. It has life force. It has energy inside of it. The difference is that the person who's alive still has intelligence inside their body. So let's look at intelligence in nature. You take a rock. Well, there's definitely some kind of intelligence, or at least a greater intelligence must have designed that rock, because if you look at it under a microscope, you're going to see that these molecules join together in certain patterns. You're going to see that something shaped this rock, that there may be different types of elements inside this rock. So there's some kind of basic intelligence even in that design. But then we look into a step up. Let's look at bacteria, a single-celled organism. Would you agree that there's more intelligence in a bacteria than there is a rock? Yeah, I think so. Let's look at maybe a snake or a horse. Would you agree that there's even more intelligence in a horse? Now, when you look at the level of intelligence and you go to a human, this is the reason why we're on the top of our food chain. Is humans, we are full of energy and intelligence, and this brain, it supplies intelligence to the rest of our body constantly, to every organ, cell, and tissue. Your brain is sending this intelligence, this life, to every organ, cell, tissue in your entire body. So the human body, we know, is very intelligent. And so we can ask ourselves, well, where does this intelligence come from? If we can say that the difference between a body that is alive and a body that is dead is intelligence, where does this life come from? Where does this intelligence come from in the body? Well, we would say that this intelligence comes from above down, inside out, meaning that the intelligence comes from the brain. Your brain is constantly sending messages to your heart, telling your heart to beat, your lungs telling your lungs to breathe, your stomach and all of the organs. That your brain will actually coordinate 20 different organs to help digest every little piece of food that you eat. And then it doesn't stop there. It has to actually help all of those nutrients that are assimilated and digested from the food you eat. It has to get those nutrients to 70 trillion cells in your body in the exact right amount to supply the need for every single cell in your body. If you had to consciously, educationally do this every second of the day, you wouldn't have time to do anything else. In fact, you would fail. None of us would make it through a day if we had to coordinate all this intelligence that happens every second of our body. Let's look at an example. So what is paralysis? You may have heard of this. If someone falls, maybe like let's take it, for example, Superman, Christopher Reeves. He fell off a horse. He broke his neck, the upper bone in his neck, and it applied pressure into his spinal cord, and the rest of his body from his neck down was what we call paralyzed. Okay? So if we cut a nerve, whatever nerve we cut in your body, that portion of your body is paralyzed. Why? Let me ask you that question. If I cut the nerve to your arm, and your arm is then paralyzed, you cannot move it. Why is that? It's because the intelligence from your brain is cut off to your arm. That life, that intelligence is no longer flowing through that arm. Now, it has to be in some amount, or it would actually die. So let's look at Christopher Reeves, that example that we brought up. He had pressure on his brainstem. That shut everything there down. He had to have a defibrillator to keep his heart going. He had to have a lung respirator machine to help him to breathe. People had to massage his colon to help him go to the bathroom. There was just enough nerve flow to keep his body alive for a short period of time. He didn't live, considerably long, a great life after that. But paralysis is where we cut off the nerve flow, the intelligence that's coming from your brain to the organ cells and tissues in your body. So what is that intelligence? What goes through the nerve? How does your brain send that intelligence through those nerves? Well, it's what we call action potentials, or even more importantly, the word that I want you to get is a mental impulse. So an action potential, you may have heard of this if you took anatomy in high school or college. An action potential is when your nerve fires, all right? It's when you stick, let's say in anatomy class where you actually shock the frog's leg and you can make it move. Right? You're sending a shot of energy through that nerve, and that action potential is going through that nerve fiber, firing the muscle. But what's more important, and what happens whenever we block this intelligence, is that we're blocking the mental impulse that goes through that nerve. This is the embedded information. It's like your cell phone. You get a cell phone signal. But it's not just the cell phone signal that's important. It's that embedded information that allows you to talk to somebody. It's that your words are being sent through that medium, through the air. So science can cause action potentials. We can shock your arm and make it move, but we cannot send mental impulses through those nerves like your brain can. So I can't hook your arm up to electrodes and make it reach out and grab a glass of water and bring it to your lips and help you to take a drink. That comes from the brain. That's the mental impulse, the information that's flowing through those nerves. Now, why do we start off with this? When we're talking about health, happiness, vitality, improving your life, why do we start off with this big idea of having pure life flowing through your nervous system? Well, because every ounce of life in your body flows from your brain through those nerves to every organ, cell, and tissue in your body. This means that your brain controls every function of the body. And one of the main things that we want to get across, that we want to help you achieve during this course in Pure Life University, is that we want you to understand that health is 100% function of the body. So if we want you to be healthy, we have to look to the one system in your body that controls function. Because by definition, how well your body functions, that determines your health. So if you, again, look back into your anatomy book from high school, you'll see these pictures that you're looking at right now. You'll see the spine from the front. That will tell you the proper alignment where each nerve exits your spine. Then you'll look and you'll see the spine from the side. That will tell you that every nerve exits from those levels, and it carries that information from your brain to every organ in your body. Now we want to look closely at these images, because these images tell us the proper alignment of the spine. If you'll notice in that picture on your left, that is the spine, and from the front. The spine from the front should be straight up and down. There shouldn't be curves, tilts, shifts, translations. Misalignments in that spine cause pressure, irritation, and blockage of that mental impulse getting through to those organ cells and tissues. Now, the image you're looking at on your right, those are the natural curves of the spine. We need to have those natural curves of the spine from the side. We can actually measure the degrees of those curves and tell whether they're within a normal range of alignment. If you've lost those curves, or if you have too much curves of the spine, that puts irritation, pressure, interference in your nervous system and causes dysfunction or dis-ease in the body. So it's vital that if we want you to have more energy, more life, more happiness, we need to make sure that your nervous system is functioning without interference. What would interfere with the function of your nervous system? It's this concept of what we call subluxation. It's really the number one cause of nerve interference in your body. You see, if we were going to define subluxation, and I'm giving you my own personal definition of subluxation, but subluxation is the misalignment or even fixation in the spine that causes irritation or interference to the mental impulses that we were talking about, to that information that's supposed to be getting to the rest of your body. So what's the best way to take a look at your spine? It's by x-ray, so that we can actually see what type of alignment your spine is in. And if you'll notice that this poor individual we're looking at now, if you look at that image on the left, that is that person's spine from the front. Would you tell me that that person's spine is in a good alignment? I'm guessing no, that you would not tell me that person's spine is in a good alignment. When the spine is shifted or subluxated out of alignment, and I realize I'm showing you an extreme case here, but when that spine is shifted out of alignment, even a little bit, it can put pressure and irritation on the nerves that exit from that spine that are carrying vital mental impulses or life force from your brain to whatever organ, cell, and tissue. So if you have pressure or irritation on your nerve, can you see how that's going to decrease life and mental impulses from getting to the rest of your body? It's going to keep you from living the life you desire and the life you deserve. So it's worth it for you to put in the investment of time, energy, even finances, whatever it takes to make sure that your spine stays in the best possible health and that your family, that your whole family, that they're able to do what it takes to keep their spine in a good, healthy alignment. So when we're looking from the front there, we know it should be straight, right? And that person's is not. Let me show you another case of the spine from the front, okay? Now you're looking at a straight spine. Now, of course, you're looking at just the lower half of this individual. So if you're looking at the bottom of the image that you can see the hips. There's the right hip is on the right, the left hip on the left. You can see that the tailbone is in the bottom there, and then if you draw a line from that center of that tailbone straight up, you'll notice that that line stays right in the middle and that spine stays right on alignment. This is a great alignment of the low back, okay, when you're looking at the spine from the front. Now that's what we want to see on everybody's x-ray. But let me show you, unfortunately, that's not always what we see. Let me introduce you to a patient who was in our office, Lisa. Lisa is only 17 years old. Now, of course, she suffered from menstrual problems, irritable bowel syndrome, chronic low back pain, and she was labeled with scoliosis. Here is Lisa's spine from the front. Now, if you'll notice, their hips are at the bottom, and then the spine should be straight, coming straight up from that line, and it's obviously not. She has a 27-degree scoliotic curve. No wonder she has menstrual problems. Where do the nerves come from? Right in that area of the spine that are carrying life and health and information from the brain to the uterus. Where? Right there. She has irritable bowel syndrome. Where do the nerves come from that innervate the intestines? Right there. She has chronic low back pain, of course, right? Now, Lisa, for her case, she didn't come into our office like most people do with back pain. Her parents brought her in because they were concerned. They had been going to an orthopedic surgeon, and they were monitoring her case, and this curve was actually getting worse in her lower back. So in that 27 degrees, our orthopedic surgeon said if it gets close to 35, that we're going to have to start thinking about surgery. And for surgery, they would go in, they would put titanium rods in the spine, they screw those rods into the spine, and they keep it from getting worse. Now, I want you to think about, just for a second, why would they need to go in there and put rods into that spine? Why would they need to keep it from getting worse? Because just like I told you that a misalignment in the spine can irritate a nerve and block the messages from the brain to those organs, cells, and tissues, if we have too much misalignment, if you have over a 35-degree or greater curve, then you have the potential for actually crushing nerves in those areas. And then if you crush the nerve, it will kill whatever that nerve goes to. It could actually organs in the body could shut down, and so it could be life-threatening. So if her scoliosis is getting so bad, it's crushing nerves, they have to go in there, they have to do surgery, and they have to stop that and correct that. But she didn't want that. She was actually, she played sports. She knew that she'd never get to play sports again if she had this surgery. She wanted to do everything possible to keep this from happening. Now I want to show you that she was in our office for 6 months. I want to show you her post x-ray after corrective care in a chiropractic office. Now I also want you to notice that that picture that you're seeing, that after picture right there on the right, that it's improved, but it's not perfect, okay? So getting even care in a chiropractic office, it's not about being perfect. But her spine did go from 27 degrees to only 12 degrees. She's no longer a candidate for that spinal surgery. She's doing better. Her low back pain is better. Even her irritable bowel syndrome has improved. But the point is that when we can correct the alignment of the spine to take pressure off the nerve, that body is able to do what it's designed to do. That your body is designed to heal. That intelligence inside of you, when flowing through those nerves, is powerful. It's the reason why if you get a cut on your finger, that you don't have to educationally try to sew that up with your mind, that you trust in a couple of weeks that intelligence inside your body will mend that skin back to perfect order. That's what happens inside the body when we get irritation and pressure off of those vital, delicate nerves. The body can begin to heal and function the way it was designed to. So let's take a look. We were looking at the spine from the front. Let's take a look at the spine from the side. Remember we said we shouldn't have a straight spine from the side. We should have natural curves. What you're looking at here in this image is the spine taken from the side. You can see in the upper left, that is the back of this person's head. In the upper right, you can see the jaw. You can actually see the back 2 teeth of this individual. And right in the middle of this image, this x-ray, you can see the natural curve of the neck. This is a normal alignment for the neck. Now you can see how the arc, we put a black line there to show you how this is a nice smooth arc. We put dots on the back of each vertebrae, those white squares, those are the vertebrae of the neck. You can see the dots line up pretty close with that arc or that curve. And then if you look closely, you can see between each vertebrae is what we call the disc. Those are the dark areas between the bones. And you can see in this individual they're nice and open, they're hydrated, there's no spinal degeneration, there's no arthritis, there's no bone spurring for this individual because they're in this great alignment. There's pressure and stress is distributed throughout the spine the way it's designed to be. Okay, so we know that when the spine is in this alignment, there's the best chance for those vital nerve impulses to get through the body to those organ cells and tissues. But I want to show you someone who does not have a good alignment. So I'm going to show you the same type of x-ray we took from the side, but this different individual has a worse alignment of the neck. And so keep your eye on this image as it changes here from this person to this individual. Now if you're looking at this x-ray, would you tell me that this person has a good alignment of the neck? No, I don't think that you would. In fact, that you can look closely, you can see that line is still there, that black arc of line shows you where the spine should be. The black dots are where this person's spine is. So they do not line up with each other. This is actually what we call a phase 2 subluxation degeneration, because we've not only misaligned the spine by losing that curve, but then you start to look closely at the vertebrae and the discs. Now, this individual is young. They still have disc height in those areas, but you can see how the shape of the vertebrae has begun to change. If you look closely on the front edge, you'll notice that there's some sharpening beginning to take place there. Now if we took if nothing was done to correct this and you took another image, 5-10 years down the road, I believe you would start to see bone spurring and degeneration and arthritis start to develop in these bones. Why? Because there's a reason your spine should be in a good alignment. It distributes stress, gravity, weight throughout the spine evenly. When you have a misalignment in the spine, there's certain areas that get more wear and tear, more breakdown, and that's where we start to see arthritis, bone spurring, and irritation begin to set in on those nerves, and that's what's happening for this individual in this phase 2. Okay, so let me show you the spine from a little different angle, a little different view or an image. What we're looking at here is the normal alignment, that good curve of the neck, just like you were looking in the last two x-rays. If you look at this image on the right, that is what we call an x-ray, a lateral cervical neutral. Okay, you're looking at, just like the last couple of x-rays, you're looking at that spine from the left. You can see the good curve in through the neck. If you look at this person on the left, this is actually a cadaver study where they actually took a cross section. They cut this individual down the middle, and they show you how the spinal cord, the white cord that you're seeing there, lays right in behind the vertebrae. Those dark squares, those are the vertebrae in the neck. And the spinal cord lays right down in through there behind those vertebrae. Okay, this is a normal alignment. Let me show you phase 1 subluxation or misalignment. Can you see the difference between these two images, the normal and the phase 1? The phase 1 has a very straight spine. We've lost that curve. You can see on the right image the x-ray. We've lost the curve of the x-ray. On the left, there's the cadaver study. They show you how the spinal cord lays behind those vertebrae again there. And what happens is that spinal cord is stretched during this loss of curve. Now, the layman term for this phase 1 loss of curve is what we call military neck. Because in the military, people are wearing those heavy packs. It's forcing a bad posture, and we see this a lot of times when people come back from being in the military for years, having the type of wear and tear, is we see a phase 1 subluxation a big percentage of the time. Now, if phase 1 is not corrected, this is what we call a progressive condition. This can actually continue to get worse. Let me show you what a phase 2 looks like. Now, we call this a phase 2 because we already see spinal degeneration. You can notice if you look at the curve, we see at the lower portion of that curve, we develop a negative curve, meaning that the curve is not, it's actually shaped the wrong direction. It begins to curve forward instead of back. This puts a tremendous amount of pressure, irritation on the discs and the nerves, and you'll start to see arthritis, bone spurring, and spinal degeneration. In this individual, you might even see a humping that develops over the upper part of the back. If you look at their posture, they're probably rounded forward and their chin juts out forward, and this person has a bad posture. Okay, this misalignment shows up in this individual's posture. But even more importantly, what happens is it begins to stretch and irritate the nerves in this area. We call this pathological tension. Okay, so I want to show you the difference in the stretch between the normal curve and this phase 2 or even the phase 1. Now, if we took this normal curve and I took a cross section the horizontally, so let me show you. If I took a cross section of the spinal cord here, where you're looking down inside of the spinal cord, this white is the spinal cord, the black is the area around the spinal cord. That's taken from a normal curve into the neck. If you look at the image on the right, this is the phase 1 that I'm about to show you, the military neck. Taken at the same level, this is the difference between the nerves. The nerve on the right is under tension. It's being stretched. If you can imagine a rubber band, if you stretch that rubber band, would the diameter of that rubber band get bigger as you stretch it or smaller? Well, if you can imagine stretching that rubber band, the diameter of it would get smaller and tighter as you stretched it. That's what's going on here in the spinal cord. Pathological tension in the nervous system is dangerous. It begins to put irritation, pressure, and block the mental impulses going through the spinal cord and through those nerves. And this is why it's important, if you do have subluxation in the spine, that you get it corrected by a certified or board-certified chiropractor who knows what they're doing, that you not only get it corrected, but then you begin to do the things that it takes to keep that correction and maintain that healthier spine so life, literally life, can flow through those nerves to every organ, cell, tissue in your body. Now let me show you some real patients, and we'll be done in just a second. Let me show you this individual who came into our office, this young lady. She's 60. Yes, that's right, I called her young. I believe 60 is young. From the outside, you wouldn't even be able to notice that she is 60. She definitely looks young. But she came into our office holding her neck. She had a really bad, what she called, crick in her neck. But for her, she said that it wouldn't go away. It had been there for weeks. She said she tried muscle relaxers and pain pills, and those types of things weren't helping. So she wanted to figure out what's going on. So we took this x-ray. All right, now I want you to look closely and tell me what's wrong with this x-ray. Now, hopefully you notice that it's not in a good curve, that it's straight up and down. That's one area that we call subluxation. But if you look closely, I want you to look close at those disc spaces. You'll notice that some of the disc spaces are almost completely gone. We call this bone on bone. If you look towards the front of the spine, you'll see sharp edges and bone spurring. That's degeneration and arthritis that is set into the spine there. Now, one of the questions I always ask people when they come in my office is if they have this pain, is how long has it been there? The second question I always ask is, have you ever had this pain before? Now, when I asked this individual, have you ever had this pain before? She said no. But she looked at me and she said, but, my neck's always been stiff, isn't everybody's, was her reply. Okay? So if you look at this and you notice that she's had pain for the last 3 weeks, and you see this x-ray, would you say that this spinal degeneration, this loss of disc height, this narrowing of the discs and bone spurring and arthritis, would you say that started 3 weeks ago when her pain started? No, probably not. In fact, the point that I want to get across is you don't always feel subluxation happening in your spine. What you feel are the effects of it when it gets bad or when it begins to put pressure on a nerve. The best analogy I can give you is a cavity. Okay, the first day that you feel that cavity in your tooth, do you think that's the first day that it was there? The first day that it started? No, nobody would say no. In fact, you can ask some dentists, they could say a cavity could be there up to a decade or more before you actually feel it. This is why when you go for regular checkups, when they detect a cavity, they correct it, whether you feel it or not. This next x-ray that I have for you, this is still, believe it or not, this is still an x-ray of the neck from the side. This is one of the worst x-rays I'd ever seen in my career. This poor individual gave me permission to use his x-ray in this report or this PowerPoint. He came into the office with severe neck pain, obviously, headaches, migraines that would put him into the hospital. And his orthopedic surgeon said that first bone in the spine, the atlas, one of the most important bones in the entire spine, if you could say one bone was more important than the other, because this bone actually could put pressure on the brainstem, very vital area in your body, was shifted so far forward that it was putting so much pressure, it was causing migraines, so many problems. His orthopedic surgeon actually went in, and if you'll notice this white wire-looking substance in the x-ray there, that is wire. He wrapped wire around the back of the atlas, that bone, and tied it to the rest of the bones in the spine to keep it from shifting forward any farther, putting any more pain and pressure on that brainstem. Okay, so when we see an x-ray of this, I'm not going to tell you that I fixed this or show you some kind of post x-ray that shows this is correct. In fact, we stay away from this area after it's had surgery on it. We're able to help sometimes above or below the surgery. But for this individual, he's way too far. I want to help you to make sure that we stop you from getting to this point and we head you back the other direction. Let me give you an example. If I take that individual and I put him next to somebody with a good alignment, good healthy spine, good disc spaces, no arthritis, which one of these two people would you rather be? Let me ask you this. Which one of these two people, knowing what you know now, that life comes from above, down, inside out, that messages are being sent from your brain to every organ, cell in your tissue in your body, which one of these two people has the best chance for health? For feeling good, for being happy, healthy, for feeling that vitality and being able to do the things that they want to do and achieve their goals. Which person do you think has a better chance of doing that? Well, I imagine that you're pointing at the person on the left side of your screen, because this good alignment allows the messages from your brain to flow through the spinal cord and out every level of your spine to every organ, cell, and tissue in your body, allowing that mental impulse to get through to allow your body to function the way it was designed to function. And that was an x-ray of the neck. Let me show you an x-ray of the low back. So the same rules apply here. You're looking at this image on the left, you're looking at a good alignment of the low back, a picture taken from the side, okay, so on the right side would be the belly, on the left side would be the back, and then the lower area would be the belt line, right in there. But you can see that the lumbar or the low back curve should be nice. There's that individual, you can see the number 45, they have a 45-degree curve in the lower back, okay? But let me compare that good alignment, that good curve of the lumbar spine, to a bad one. Now, can you see the difference? Can you see how straight this person's low back is? When taking a picture from the side, it shouldn't be straight. You can see that because of that loss of curve or misalignment, that the disc spaces have narrowed, that there's bone spurring and arthritis that's already set in. Which one of these two do you think is going to have low back pain first? Right? Imagine you're pointing at the image on the right side of the screen. If you can imagine that every nerve that exits that area of the spine will innervate the intestines, the stomach, will send nerves down the leg, which one of those people, if they have pressure on the nerves there, what organ could be compromised or not functioning at 100%? So, which one of these two x-rays would you rather be? I would rather be that person on the left. Let's look at a young person. This individual was only 5 years old when they came in the office. Now, kids have a hard time, even telling you where pain is. They didn't. This little guy didn't come in the office because of headaches or neck pain, like a lot of people come in with. In fact, this little guy, his mom brought him in because she had tried everything else. She had been to other medical doctors. She'd been to allergists, and her son was having ear infections and sinus infections that were so chronic, she said he'd been on dozens of rounds of antibiotics since he was born. And he's only 5 years old, and if you look at the curve and through his neck, and we realize that there should be a natural curve, 40 degrees, 42-degree curve, and his curve is only 12 degrees. It's very straight. What happened? Well, one thing I always ask about when I see misalignment in this young of an individual is, how was the birth process? And for this specific case, mom actually told me that it was a very difficult birth process, that they actually had to use forceps to clamp the head and pull the baby out because the baby was stuck in the birth canal. Now, that puts a tremendous amount of pressure on the upper part of this spine. Now, it just so happens that a lot of the nerves that come from the upper part of the spine are related to ears, eyes, nose, and throat. So is it a coincidence that this little guy, because of the misalignment that's keeping his ears or eyes or nose or throat or eustachian tubes from functioning the way they were designed to, is it a coincidence that he has all these types of sinus issues and ear infections? Well, let me show you a post-follow-up x-ray from care in our office. So this little 5-year-old began to get adjusted. Let me show you the x-ray and what it looks like now. So this is after spinal corrective care. Can you see the increase in curve? Now at 31 degrees of curve. And this little guy's been getting adjusted for over a year now, just getting checkups because he's doing so much better. He's not having the ear infections, the sinus infections. He's not having to take antibiotics. In fact, mom says he hasn't had another round of antibiotics since he started getting adjusted. Now, I don't tell you this to tell you that we treat ear infections or that we cure sinus infections or anything like that, which we don't. I never touched this little individual's ears. Never once touched his ears or treated any types of symptoms. Because we're going to take this same approach, whether someone comes in our door with cancer or they come in with low back pain, we're going to look to the spine, and if we see misalignment or interference, I know that body's not functioning at 100% if there's irritation, misalignment, and pressure on the nerves there. All we do is address that alignment, remove that interference, and then we're allowed to allow that body to function better, the way it was designed to. So I don't believe this specific little guy, this little boy was born genetically to have massive chronic ear infections and sinus infections. I believe there was an interference in the way his body was functioning, and all we did was remove that interference. Then we allowed that body to function better, function the way it was designed to. I hope that makes sense to you. Let me show you another case. This young lady's 40, in her early 40s. You can see this image on the left was when she first started corrective care. Very straight neck, straight up and down. The image on the right is a 3-month follow-up, okay? So she went through a corrective care plan in my office. Her neck went from 6 degrees to 21, which is a very good improvement. At the end of three months, she was feeling great. She no longer had the headaches or the arm pain that she came in with. And so she was doing awesome. The reason I asked if I could put this series, her specific x-rays, in here, and she gave me permission to, was because she continued with what we call wellness care. Even after she got that much correction in her spine, she began to get adjusted once a week or every other week, just being checked for subluxation and adjusted. And she also did her homework at home. She would lay on her spinal molding rolls. She would do her spinal exercises or mirror image exercises that she was given. And let me show you a post follow-up x-ray. She's been in my office for about 2 years now. And let me show you what her spine looks like now from the side. Look at the improvement that continued to happen over a span of 2 years because she put attention on the alignment of her spine. She went in for checkups. She did her homework. She laid on spinal molding rolls. How much better now do you think her body is functioning than it was when it first started? That alignment makes a huge difference in your life, in your health, and in the energy that you have. I know I showed you a lot of pictures from the neck. Let me show you a low back, okay? This is the low back you're looking at this individual from the side again. We should see a natural curve there, but we don't. We see it's only 11 degrees. Now look closely at the disc spaces. If you start at the top of the picture, you'll see that those dark spaces are nice and open. As you move down, you'll see that the spaces begin to close. That actually, if you look at that space in the lower portion of this individual's spine, that L5-S1, the very lowest disc space in their spine, that this person has significant loss of disc height, that disc has begun to degenerate, dehydrate, and put pressure on the nerve that travels down this person's leg. And that's why this individual came in with low back pain and leg pain that shot down their leg. Now, they were in our office for about 6 months, and we did a post x-ray, but let me show you the difference between that individual's spine when they came in to what they look like now. Huge difference if you look at the image on the right. Now, not only is the alignment better because we're seeing that natural lumbar curve come back, but look at the disc spaces. Look how open they are. And if you compare the disc space to where that in that lower portion of the spine where it was when they first came in to where it is now, that's what we call rehydration or regeneration of a disc. And I'm going to tell you, you can take pain pills all day long, but you're not going to get rehydration of the spine or rehydration of the disc. And that doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen in one treatment or one adjustment, but in time, if you take care of your spine, there's a limitation to the amount of matter and maybe the limitation to the amount it can heal. If that person's spine was already fused, maybe we wouldn't have got that. But your body heals, just like that cut on your finger heals. Your spine can heal if it's able to. So let's look at how that happened. Well, first, chiropractic adjustments were applied to the spine. The chiropractic adjustment helps align your spine, take pressure off the nerve. That's why we tell our patients to keep your appointments, because your body responds to time and repetition of the chiropractic adjustment. I always tell patients, if you're going to start, you must finish, because this is so important that this process take place in your spine. Now, when people come into our office, every time they get adjusted, they may have what we call spinal rehabilitation as well. Now, this rehab after the chiropractic adjustment helps to set the adjustment. It helps to relax the tight ligaments. It helps to train muscle memory. Now, these types of rehab can be done either in the office after the adjustment or even at home. And then after this period of time we call corrective care, where we're getting the most correction we possibly can, we're being more intense and frequent on our visits, we move into what we call wellness. And let me ask you this question. You know, a lot of people are like, well, once I go to a chiropractor, I got to always go to a chiropractor. Not true. You can choose to stop at any time. We don't make anybody do anything. The fact is, a lot of people choose to continue with this type of wellness care. Because, let me ask you this question. What would happen if you went to the gym, okay? You went really frequently. You went 3 to 4 times a week over months. You got into great shape. Your body was getting toned. It was looking good. And then you stopped. You just stopped going to the gym forever. You just sat on the couch and ate potato chips. You didn't move, you didn't exercise, you didn't do anything. What would happen eventually? Well, you would say you would get out of shape again. Absolutely. Same thing could happen to the spine. If you don't continue to take care of it, it can degenerate. This is why it's the same concept with your teeth. If you don't take care of your teeth and brush and floss, they can degenerate. They can break down. So you have to continually maintain this. This is why we teach our patients about spinal hygiene. And if you look below this video, you'll see my book, At Home Spinal Care. It'll teach you all the spinal hygiene exercises that we show our patients to do on a daily basis. So click on that download download button. It should be a blue button below this video, and download a free copy of my book, At Home Spinal Care, and begin to learn how to take care of your spine. What exercises do you do at home? My family, we get adjusted or at least checked once a week, and we do our spinal hygiene exercises on a daily basis so that we can maintain the health of our spine. Let me move into one of our last x-rays that we have. This sequence of x-rays, this is the same person you're looking at from the left side to the right side. And in fact, I'll tell you, this is my personal set of x-rays. You see, as I was growing up, I had a lot of issues with back pain and neck pain, and I had a lot of problems with my digestion. And I don't mean to be strong-worded, but I remember as a kid having to sit in the bathroom for 30, 45 minutes, not being able to go to the bathroom because I was constipated. And at that age, not really knowing that that was abnormal, right? Not really knowing that I should tell somebody about that. But when I found chiropractic care, or I should say corrective care, it changed my life. And if you'll notice my x-ray on the far left side of your screen, when I first started corrective care, I only had a 7-degree curve in my neck. That's almost completely straight, and that type of pressure and stretch on my spinal cord and nerves, no wonder my body wasn't functioning at 100%. Now, as I got corrective care, this, as you move from the left, the image on the left to the image in the middle, that was about a 3 to 6 month process, but my spine went from 7 degrees to 26 degrees, and it changed my life. It changed the way my body healed, the energy that I had. My life changed significantly when I went from 7 to 26 degrees. Now, the image on the right, that's not just another 3 to 6 months later. I actually get a checkup every 18 months to 2 years. I'll get a re-x-ray, and I get my spine checked, and I get that alignment measured. And right now, the best I've been able to get my curve to is 34 degrees. Now, if you want to get specific, the ideal curve of the neck should be about 42 degrees. And if you'll notice, my spine is not perfect. And I tell you this with purpose. I tell you this because it's not about being perfect. In some cases, we never get perfect alignment of the spine. We're not shooting for perfect. We just want improvement. And that should be the approach you take at everything in your life. And as we go through this series of training in Pure Life University, we're not going to try to make you perfect. We're going to try to make you better. And in every area I've found in my life, I can be better. So how much better am I than when that image on the left side of your screen, when I was only at 7-degree curve in my neck, and now that image on the right, when I'm at 34, not perfect, but I'm at 34, how much more life, health, energy, vitality is flowing through my spine and my nervous system now than it was back then. I'll tell you, it's a lot more, it's a lot better. And I will keep and maintain and continue to try to improve that, but I will help to maintain the health of my spine for the rest of my life because I know it's just absolutely vital in my health, happiness, and my productivity that I'm going to be able to achieve in life. So as we begin to close this first class, and I really appreciate you making it this far into this class, into this video, let me explain why I have an image here of Eben Pagan. Now, most of you probably have never heard of Eben Pagan, but he's actually a business mentor of mine. Very wise, very amazing person, and I follow him online. I take a lot of his classes on how to improve my life and my productivity. And I actually got the privilege to speak with him one-on-one over the phone in a one-on-one coaching session. And I'll never forget, I was able to ask him one question. I'll never forget his answer for me. So that one question that I got to ask him was, I said, Eben, I know you coach a lot of people. I know you've seen that some people have become highly successful that you've been coaching, but I'm sure that you've had some people that actually failed, that didn't never become or achieve any of the things that they wanted to achieve. What would you say is the major difference between those two types of people, the ones that are highly and successful and the ones that are not successful in achieving their goals? What's the big difference? And he said this. He said, Tabor, I've found that the people who are most successful in life are the ones who have figured out a way to manufacture successful behavior. Now that is important, and that hit me, and I will never forget that. And as we move into a new year, That's what I really want to focus on in this series is how can we start to manufacture successful behavior? So how can we decide what do we want in life and then create a sequence of habits or behavior that we have to do every single day or every single week that we know if we do those behaviors consistently, it will manufacture that goal, that success that we want maybe weeks from now, months from now, or even years from now. But what behavior is it going to take? What habits are we going to have to put into our life that will allow us to manufacture the goals that we want? Let me give you another example of someone who is very, very successful. Let's look at Bruce Lee. Now, Bruce Lee asked himself, he said, you have to figure out what do you want? What are the goals? Do you want health? Do you want vitality? Do you want energy? Do you want money? Do you want health? What do you want in life? And then answer this question, what will I give in order to get it? Now, once you decide what you want in life and you tell yourself what will you give in order to achieve what you want, then you create a plan and you execute the plan. And let me show you a copy of Bruce Lee's own handwriting. This is his letter that they found, after he passed away. He actually wrote this. He said, I, Bruce Lee, will be the first highest paid Oriental superstar in the United States. In return, I will give the most exciting performances and render the best of quality in the capacity of an actor. Starting 1970, I will achieve world fame, and from then until the end of 1980, I will have in my possession $10 million. I will live the way I please and achieve inner harmony and happiness. Bruce Lee, January 1969. He actually wrote this, and I'll just tell you, he achieved this. He achieved his goals because he decided what did he want, what was most important to him, what will he give in order to achieve that. And then he made a plan, he stuck to it, he executed it, and you obviously know that Bruce Lee was highly, highly successful and just an amazing person. If you really start to study him, he was a master. He mastered certain skills in his life. So when we start to apply that over this course of the next 4 more classes that we have after this, we're going to show you how you can manufacture behavior in the area of pure food, how you can manufacture health and behavior in your diet and your lifestyle and improving your health. We're going to talk about pure fitness in one of the next classes, how you can put in habits that will help you manufacture success in the area of your fitness and your health. Then we're going to talk about pure energy and things that you can do in your mindset to actually give you more energy, vitality, and productivity in your life. And the last class we're going to end with in this series is pure mind. And it's going to show you how you can begin to master your mind. And the most powerful things can happen when we begin to master our mind. This is so important in achieving your goals and in improving your life in the areas of health, wealth, spirituality, relationships, mental health. We're going to start to decide, and I want you to think about this over the next few days before class number 2, Pure Food, comes out. And by the way, I'm going to be emailing that straight to your inbox, so keep an eye on your inbox. But I want you to answer this question, what do you want? If it's health, if that's one of your goals, then what behavior is required in order for you to achieve that? For me, I answered that question. I know that I'm going to have to be getting a regular adjustment every week. I'm not going to miss my adjustment or my checkup. I'm going to start drinking more water. The formula for drinking more water is you take your body weight in ounces and divide it in half. That's how many ounces of water you need to drink every day. For me, I weigh 200 pounds, so that means I divide that in half. That's 200 in half is 100. I convert that to ounces. I need to be drinking 100 ounces of water every day. Now, the food, I know that I am on a certain diet. We're going to talk about this in class number 2, Pure Food. But I'm on a lifestyle diet where I know what I can eat on Monday, Tuesday. I know what I can eat on Wednesday and how that's different. I know that Thursday and Friday are back and they're the same as Monday and Tuesday. I know that Saturday is another day that's similar to Wednesday, and I know that Sunday is my cheat day. I'm going to explain all of this. It's in a very simple lifestyle diet we're going to walk you through so that not only are you going to lose weight, but it's going to start to become a habit, and you can actually keep that habit as you go through. It's something that I've started in my life that I absolutely love, and I call it my lifestyle diet. So I know what I'm doing every single day. There's no guess. There's no just waking up not knowing what you're going to do or what you can eat for that day. Okay. The last thing is for me, if I'm going to master my health, is that I'm going to have to exercise. And we're going to talk about that in the third class, Pure Fitness. I'm going to give you a very simple exercise program that you can do even at home if you want to, just in 10, 15 minutes, but you're going to do those on certain days so that why? Because when you start to manufacture that behavior, you know that down the road you're going to achieve that goal and have that success in your life. We're going to apply this in a lot of different areas. We're going to do that over the next couple of weeks. Let me thank you again for sticking with me to the end of this video, to the end of this class number 1. And scroll down below here, read through, and make sure you download your free ebook, At Home Spinal Care. You'll also notice that my phone number is below here, 281-664-2250. That's our office phone number. If you'd like to schedule an appointment, if you're in Houston, Texas, please give us a call, come in for a checkup, or schedule an appointment. Tell your friends about us. Even if you're not in Houston, we do have intensive care weeks where we have people who fly in, stay at a hotel for a week or to 2 weeks and get intensive care and actually get amazing results in their health. Call us if you want to talk about that as well. Or if you'd like us to find a trained chiropractor that we know or trust in your area, you're welcome to call us as well, and we'll try to get you to the best chiropractor that we can in your area. We just want to help. I want to make sure that your life improves, that next year is the best year, that you can make 2016 the best year you've ever had. Thank you so much for being on our first class. You guys did great. You made it to the end, and I will see you in a few days. We'll be getting class number 2, Pure Food, out to you, and we're going to start changing your life, making your life better, and improving your health, your happiness, and your productivity. We'll talk to you next time.